I think people would respect you more if you didn't call mistakes stupid. It comes across as you're a genius and the rest of us are dumb. Lol. Seriously.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I hurt your feelings? My apologies. I've never claimed to be a genius. All I'll say is this. I've just made a crap ton of mistakes and I'm sharing the information with you so you don't avoid making the same dumb mistakes I did. But I can understand calling them dumb mistakes might hurt your feelings a little bit. So tell you what, I changed the title just for you. Change the word stupid to idiotic. Is that better now? Oh, you can't play live, you can't play live, you can't play live. I know there are ways to get around that. Morning, how's it going? Hope you're having an amazing summer so far. I'm shooting this on the 5th, but I think this video is going out on the 11th. Got a bunch of stuff going on this week with driving my significant other around to various appointments and whatnot. Anyway, I just want to say thank you so much for stopping by. This is my show where I answer your comments and questions, that sort of thing, and hopefully help somebody out along the way. I used to do these weekly, but now I'm just kind of doing them whenever I get the chance, so hopefully you're not all caught up on weekly day releases by whatever, because I just can't do it right now. But everybody who's been sticking around on the show, I do appreciate you so very much for just standing by me while I go through all this. Anyway, got an awesome show for you today. It's some of the best comments and questions we've had in quite a while, including a mother of a butthurt of the week. So stick around for that.
Hi, Glenn. I just found out that most guitar brands are owned by Fender, example, Jackson, Charvel, etc., or Gibson, Kramer, Steinberg. Even CORT manufactures guitars for Ibanez and PRS. Does this mean that brands like Ibanez and PRS don't differ from each other, as I thought, and do they have the same build quality and or sound? Thanks, and your videos are amazing.
Ooh, lots to unpack in there. Let's just put it this way. I worked in automotive manufacturing for almost 3 decades. Fortunately, thanks to awesome viewers like you, I was able to retire 5 years early. So believe me, I'm fucking grateful. And the fact I get to answer awesome questions like this for a living, thank you again. Here's the thing. You're talking about basically OEM manufacturing. It's like generally the way it looks to me anyway, and I can be completely wrong here. This is purely opinion, not fact, and don't treat it as such. In the automotive industry anyway, certain brands would like the way certain vehicles were built and say, hey, can we do our own version of that? And that's how that would be. In my case, working for Chrysler, we built the Volkswagen Routan and the Lancias and the left-hand drives. And that was actually, in fact, my job was doing the left-hand drives. We'd only get 5, 6 a day. And, I'd have to chase a van down the line and do a whole bunch of things to it. But because it was only 5, 6 a day, I'm like, fuck yeah, sign me up. I needed to get like 18, 19 years of seniority to be able to get that job. So it took quite a while to be able to get something awesome like that. That was a pretty rare job in the automotive business these days. Anyway, as per your particular question, so you'll see brands like Gibson, they own Epiphone, and then they farm out the manufacturing to say I think the Epiphones are done in Korea. I've got a Mustaine Epiphone for sale, by the way. It's awesome. It's only been used in the guitar demo. But anyway, point being is, yes, they farm things out to offshore factories who have some really amazing build quality these days. So yeah, Gibson's got the Epiphones. I think those are done in Korea, and they've also got the Kramers. The Kramers are pretty good too. Again, they bought the brand to be able to sell their lower priced entry-level models on. The Kramers are pretty good. They're not fantastic, but they're not bad. And this is the thing. I mean, not everybody can afford a made in USA PRS. So they went to CORT to get them done. And I'm sure they're phenomenal because CORT builds incredible fucking guitars. They used to kind of be the butt end of jokes back in the 80s, honestly, but talk about turning around your build quality. CORT builds some of the best guitars I've ever laid my hands on. I've had them on the show numerous times. So if you guys want me to check out one of those PRS CORTs, I'd love to take a look at it. But yes, it might say PRS on the sticker, but it's definitely built on the same lines by the same people doing the CORTs. It's just different badging, maybe slightly different specs, that kind of thing, a little bit of aesthetic things here and there. But at their heart, yeah, they're CORTs, and they're fucking fantastic. Another great example would be, Schecter and LTD. They get World Music in Korea to build their instruments. Phenomenal stuff. I've got this incredible Schecter Blood Red SLS Evil Twin made by World Music in Korea. Just incredible stuff. And if you didn't see the demo, I put this out just a couple days ago. This is the new Sterling by Music Man John Petrucci model. This is kind of their updated version of the one I had on the show a couple of years ago. That was awful. This guitar, on the other hand, if you want to get the full rundown on this guitar, which I'd highly recommend doing, we've even got a very special guest on that episode. I'd recommend waiting around to the end of this one. I'll send you a link to this video. And if you like this guitar sound, I've got a link to the impulse response I made. That is the new made in UK Celestial Vintage 30. I'll have a link to that impulse response you can grab for absolutely free. It's in the video description and it's also in the pinned first comment. I'm just trying to get it out to as many people as I can to help as many people as I can because the new UK Vintage 30s are absolutely incredible. And the IR I made is run right here on the Neve. That's yours absolutely free for just being awesome and stopping by.
Apple installer wouldn't open because I can't verify there isn't malware, and that sucks.
Ooh, you're talking about Neural Amp Modeler, the open source, free to grab, awesome amp sim software that anybody can get, and it's literally as good as anything out there, even the best commercial stuff. The age of awesome guitar recording has definitely arrived. Neural Amp Modeler is the answer. Now, I'm not a Mac expert. I know there are ways to get around that, so I'm just going to ask the community here, anybody watching this, if you know how to get around the Mac installer issue, if it's blocking because it can't prove it's malware, please share with the class, because I know there's a way to do it. I just can't think of it off the top of my head, and I'm sure if I make a feeble attempt at it, I'm definitely going to get called out for fucking it up. So I'm going to ask you, if you know, please share it with the class, and that would be awesome. And dude, Lurks per 397, yes, watch this next part, because I know you're definitely going to want to pay attention here.
It is also worth noting that there are several free and paid NAMM implementations that add additional functionality. Audio Assault Amp Locker is free, and with a $5 unlock gives you stereo playback processing of NAMM, so you can play the left or right guitar through one plugin instance. And since it's a suite, you can add all kinds of other effects. They have included pedals, and there is a separate NAMM block you can use to have pedal captures.
Okay, that's pretty freaking awesome.
Now, the free options are Ratatouille LV2, NAMM Universal, Dusty Tube, and Tonocracy. And out of those, Dusty Tube is the most stripped down and amp-like in terms of interface and has stereo IRs and separate NAMM blocks for pedal and amp. Ratatouille runs two NAMMs in parallel, and Tonocracy has an interface like Helix.
I gotta give major props to Needs Lithium. Dude, thank you so much for sharing. I had no knowledge about that. Actually, when I did my video there on Neural Amp Modeler versus the Quad Cortex, besides being told, you can't play it live, you can't play it live, you can't play it live. Yeah, in the comments, a bunch of you guys mentioned NAMM Universal as one of the plugins to check out. So I think I'm gonna do that. Dude, actually, kind of gave me an idea for a video here. So thank you very much. We're gonna do some exploring and take a look at some of the free options. Audio Assault does some great stuff. I've worked with them years ago, and yeah, they were fantastic. And they're priced for, quote unquote, the rest of the world because they're based in Mexico. They realize not everybody has a lot of US dollars kicking around. Really killer stuff, really super affordable too. So I'll give that a shot as well as a couple of the free options. Take a look and maybe put together a little piece and show you guys what I think are the best possible options to grab. So if you haven't, please, for the love of Crom, hit the subscribe button. It would be a major, gigantic freaking help to me because I am trying to grow this and I need your help to make that happen so I can do awesome things like make recommendation videos so you can make better recordings at home. Kind of a win-win for everybody here.
This show is all about home studio recordings. Why the hell is everybody screeching about live sound? Are musicians really this dense?
Yes, they are. And if you need confirmation of that, ask somebody to send you the multi-track files of their song project. See what you get.
Doesn't PV use prison labor to build their amps?
No. You're thinking about McDonald's and Wendy's. See, unlike the PV story, which was an unconfirmed rumor, it was basically blurted out by somebody with absolutely no evidence to back up anything. The whole McDonald's and Wendy's thing has been documented in the media. Yes, they do use prison slave labor. So the next time you go to McDonald's and Wendy's and are thinking about ordering something and you're against prison slave labor, ask yourself, is this burger really worth all that human suffering? So I don't do these nearly as often as I used to, but this week we've got a very special Butthurt of the Week. Roll the clip!
This is self-pompous BS. Every pro musician will testament that different tubes sound different. But if you feel good denying and making infantile videos, well, feel free.
Okay, there's Sven Tvesk 5719. Thank you so much for stopping by and leaving your opinion. I really like the content here because it really does solidify your argument. Because you didn't say, you know what, you're wrong. I can think of 12 tests where people ran the same clips through the same amps and just had the tube as the only variable that shows massive differences. You didn't do that. I'm kind of curious. Well, couldn't you point to any tests like that? You didn't say, hey, I've got evidence that refutes your findings, or I found a test that does it better than how you did it. No. You called me self-pompous, and you literally used the no true Scotsman argument. You said, every pro musician will test it. Yes, that is the same as the no true Scotsman. Can we get a flag down on here? This is a logical fallacy in your argument. Sven, seriously, the only thing that refutes evidence is better evidence. So if you can go do that, that would be great. But I really did have a snarky response set for this, but honestly, this next comment kind of sums it all up.
One of the best ways you have to reveal the stupidity of someone is when they need to shift the goalposts to come up with a response.
Sven, I hope you were paying attention. And let's switch gears here. Let's do something a little bit positive. Here's a great comment from the community in the home studio cheat code. Check this out.
Great stuff here, Glenn. I have tamed down the reverb on my snare, added graphic EQ to the guitars, and added overdrive to the bass. I can't believe how transformative that was for my mix. I always thought drive on a bass works great for metal, but not with my classic rock style. Well, I stand corrected. With these 3 tweaks, I have so much more space and separation in my mix. This alone was worth the price of admission. Thank you, sir, and best wishes to you and your family.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks for stopping by, and I'm so glad I could be super helpful for that. And to everybody who did join the home studio cheat code, thank you so very much. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to grow this thing with you based on your suggestions to make it the best possible thing it can be for home production. And if you're wondering what that's all about, stay tuned, because I've got a whole list of things I'm going to be adding to it. And everybody who joined it gets all that stuff for absolutely free.
Maybe a silly place to ask, but this seems to be a more knowledgeable audience. If you love the sound of a 6505 and 6505 Plus on recordings, but in person have always just sound too percussive and metallic, would a Mesa dual rectifier be going in a more pleasant direction or worse? I picked up a 5150 Stealth because I missed my old 6505, but I'm having trouble getting along with. PS speakers are not the issue that's been addressed. I'm after that family of sounds. I should add that on my Tonex one, I found the 6505 profiles to be exceedingly accurate to memory, and 9 out of 10 out of times, I greatly prefer dual rectifier profiles.
Oh, well, there's your first mistake. Exceedingly accurate according to memory. Yeah, when it comes to guitar sounds, don't rely on your memory, dude. Unless you're doing direct A-B comparisons, you're just going to be working with skewed results, and you can wind up spending an awful lot of money you really don't need to. Here's the thing. I mean, like Jim Lil said it the best, you know, it's like basically amps come down to where the EQ is in relation to the distortion. It's all it really is. So if you like the sound of a 65, or if you've got a 6505, but you're after a more dual rectifier kind of sound, dude, basically you'd be buying another amp for what's essentially a different equalizer. I'm not making this up, dude. I think your best suggestion would be, instead of spending thousands on another amp, maybe get one of these. This is the EQ from Hell Pro from Master Effects, and this is a parametric equalizer, and this can do a lot of things. If you put it in front of your amp, you can get the sound of a multitude of different pickups, which, you know, are going to do 2 3D boosts up and down the spectrum. You can literally take one band and cancel out the boost your typical pickup you're using right now makes, and then substitute it with another one. There's all your pickup sounds right there. And then you can just vary output based on what you think the pickup would do. Whole lot more cheaper than paying somebody to install, you know, 5 or 10 different sets of pickups, you know, because they're all magical and have different response. I can't even fucking finish that sentence. Anyway, yes, EQ pedals will save your ass. The other cool thing is, what you can do is you can put these in the effects loop of your 6505 Plus and use it as a post EQ. And if there's a certain frequency you find, I'd say start looking in 5 to 6K region, maybe clamp that down a little bit, and then bring up the bottom end in the, say, 90 to 200 hertz region, do a little boost there, and that'll give you what more you're probably hearing on a rectifier. Try that first before dropping a crap ton of money on a different amp. Parametric EQ pedals are your friend, and these will save you thousands and thousands of dollars. Master Effects are made in Canada. They're fucking awesome. I've already had some great results with the Metallica type EQ pedal, and yeah, it turns out if you plug it into a Mesa 2C Plus, it makes it sound a whole lot less boring. That's for sure. And I made that video and that really upset a lot of people, but it's like, hey, this is exactly what they did in the studio, because Fleming, when he did Master of Puppets, thought the 2C Plus was kind of lacking. He dropped an EQ into the loop, and guess what? You got Master of Puppets. So there is that. I'm just going by what's worked. And if you don't like it, well, too bad. That's history.
Hey Glenn, I'm in Los Angeles right now, and I'm working with a band as their manager. The music sounds good, and they have the ability to release and play shows, but they're kind of some asshats. Any advice, or should I continue with them?
I don't know, man. Just ask yourself one simple question. Is the juice worth the squeeze? That's a question you're going to have to answer for yourself. I can't make that choice for you, man.
Do you actually need a DI box?
Yes, you do, especially if you're serious about recording. Not only is it going to give you the best possible signal going to your computer, it also has a pass-through. So you can plug into that. One output can go to your computer. The other output can go to a real live amp. They're just an amazing tool to have. I've had it like a Countryman in here since, I don't know, 2010, something like that. And I use it pretty much on every single recording. So yeah, it's one investment I can't recommend enough because honestly, it's just something that'll last your whole life if you treat it well.
Hey Glenn, can you do a vid on putting together a 500 series lunchbox for recording and mixing metal? I'm just an amateur and no way am I ever going to afford a new Neve or need a Neve console.
Yes, I'm actually looking at a 500 series lunchbox I need to do a video on at some point. It's from Heritage Audio. They were kind enough to send me that and a couple of preamps, and then my wife had a stroke, so it's kind of been on the back burner ever since, but it is coming. I've got some of those new Lang preamps. They're very, very reminiscent, aesthetically anyway. They seem like they'd fit right in the API end of the spectrum, for whatever you're worth. I just remember preamps don't make that big of a difference until you start running them as fuzz pedals. So unless you're going to crank the living fuck out of them, average chances are your average preamps are going to do absolutely fine. But 500 series is great because you can put a preamp and then a compressor right after, and that you use that as a vocal chain. Like I use a distressor into this mic every single time, and I've got a control right over here, and I can turn it down and go way down like this, and then I'm still talking, and then I can bring it back up again, and there we go, and then we're cranking out. Okay, great. And that's just hitting the output right there on the distressor, and it keeps the loud parts under control. Yeah, it fucking works great. I've been using that ever since, 2003 now or something like that. That's a killer fucking piece of gear. That was definitely worth the investment. Because it literally winds up on every single recording I make.
Hey Glenn, I'm a long-time guitar player, but a beginning drummer, and I'm curious where you stand on using e-drums versus acoustic. Given your stance on plugins IRs, I assume it's pro e-drum. It'd be cool to get a video about it. Thanks.
See, I really like live drums. I really do. But it's so exceedingly rare that they even wind up on records these days, because even if you do record a live drum set, there's chances they're going to just be replaced by samples. I did a live mix with a band called the Devil Horns on the show there last week. And, the snare drum was recorded with the intent of replacing it with a sample. And I gotta say, I'm really fucking disappointed with that. I had to have the band beg the engineer to provide a bottom snare track. He couldn't understand why we needed it. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to mix the drummer. That's why. I'm not trying to fucking replace him. The thing is, it's like it really depends on how much of the humanness you leave in. Electronic drums have definitely come a long way. I remember I bought myself a V-drum kit in 2000 and wound up using that on a few records, and the drummers in the bands just fucking hated them. So I learned how to record real drums. But I understand, real estate's gone up an awful lot in the last 25 years. And being able to even fucking jam out in a garage is a really difficult thing to do these days, just because nobody can afford any space. So here's the thing. I had a Millennium kit from Thomann last year, and it was okay. It wasn't great. There were definitely some issues with tracking, especially when going to, say, third-party drum libraries, like some of the Spectre digital stuff. So there was that. That being said, I've got the new Elisa Stratacore kit in here, and I need to unbox that. They sent it to me, again, just before my wife had her stroke, so it's been kind of on the back burner. And I'm just kind of, getting out from under the weight of doing a bunch of videos. And I hope to do that video very, very soon. We're going to get Chrissy Sticks in here to play probably, or Cam Fleury or somebody like that to help me demo them. I think it's going to be fucking cool. I really want to see what can be done, not only with the sounds right out of the box, but when it comes to working with third-party drum libraries as well. Should be very interesting. I want to see where the technology's come, because some of those third-party drum libraries are pretty freaking amazing. You can do some great stuff. The trick is, don't edit the living shit out of it. Leave the human performance in, and fucking try and make music instead of play the spikes on the line game.
Glenn, you probably won't read this.
You sure about that?
But I love your videos and I've actually learned a lot more from you than I did in production school. Your tones are great and everything sounds super heavy, but what happens if I have to mix a power metal song, where the guitar shares the spectrum with at least 2 keyboard tracks, chorus and strings, a fucking VST orchestra, and countless harmonies from singer and superhuman tones? How do I make my guitar sound loud and heavy when I have so little space to work with?
Well, that's the thing. Funny you said space, because that's exactly what you're going to need. If you're going to work with harmonies, I actually did a video a while back. I need to finish at some point. I did this with Lute, where we show what happens when you make like a choir style vocal. Have your vocalist do his main track right up on the mic. But when we start adding in harmonies, have them step back physically, like 3 feet, 6 feet, 9 feet for each layer. So that way you can just push the faders up and everything will fall into place. Adding a little bit of physical space between you and the microphone is going to make a huge freaking difference. And about keyboards, high pass filters are your friend, man. You can roll off up to 120 hertz, maybe even to 200 hertz, because you need to leave room for the bottom end in the guitars and all the low end in the bass guitar and kick and all that kind of shit. So rolling off the keyboards, especially especially when everything else is going, is fine. If you like, say, if you get this nice breakdown or something like that, where it's a keyboard part and there's a lot of like low end, cellos and whatnot, then you can bring the bass in. That and faders are your friend too. You can automate stuff, so you can bring guitars up when necessary, when you need to hear that in a certain part, and then you can bring the keys up in certain parts when that's necessary, and balance the two, because yeah, they are competing for mid-range stuff. So it's all about give and take, not just turn everything up and hope for the best. Unfortunately, the thing about give and take, though, it does take a lot of work and discipline to really learn how to make it work. And it's not just the easiest thing to do right out of the gate. It's like any instrument, it just takes practice. So I wish you the absolute best of luck. Let me know how it works out for you.
Just curious, how well does mixing work on Linux? Is it as clunky as Windows, or does it work better? I'm 15, by the way, and I don't want to buy a Mac. I don't have that kind of money.
Dude, I can honestly say I didn't have any money at 15 either. So about the Linux thing, again, I'm going to appeal to the audience here because I really have no clue. Linux has always kind of been like this weird third option kind of thing where I've never really explored it. I don't even think I've ever actually touched a Linux machine in my entire life. So your bet's as good as mine. I know you can get Reaper for Linux, but I don't know about plugin support. That's what it really comes down to. I think Neural Amp Modeler has a Linux version though. So there is that. You just need an IR loader and some other things to go along with it. If anybody out there is an expert on Linux, could you please help out by leaving a comment or two, maybe point the person in the right direction where they can learn some stuff about recording on Linux? Because I'd like to learn too. Maybe that's a video I should make in the very near future, is checking out a Linux-based recording system. That might be kind of fun. If you guys want to see that, let me know in the comments.
This single channel has done more for the aspiring recording artist, being you a bedroom jammer sounds so wrong, or starting out to be a pro engineer, than any other I have seen or can think of. I can literally track my own improvement from shite to something I am not embarrassed by using the release schedule of his videos. Thank you, man.
Well, thank you very much, Peter. I really appreciate that. All I can say is stick around. I'm just getting started. It's going to be a very interesting year.
If guitars say sound is in the hands, then why are they so abject to using someone else's amp when tracking for a record? Shit, I'll plug into whatever sounds best.
That's simply because the sound is not in the hands. It's one of the very first videos I ever did on this show. We tracked 4 guitar players playing the same riff through the same setup. We even used the same guitar and pick and everything, and the total difference is about that much. Wow, shocker. Just keep that in mind next time somebody tries to sell you a load of bullshit. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Hope you're going to have an amazing weekend. I hope I do as well. If you haven't already, please grab my free Vintage 30 IR. Link is in the description below. It's of the new made in UK ones. It's awesome. I'm very proud of it, and I'm getting a lot of positive feedback on it as well. So if you just want to step up your home recordings for absolutely no money at all, grab your copy today. That's my way of saying thanks for watching the show. Anyway, have yourself an amazing weekend. I'll see you next time. And until then, if there's somebody in your life you care about, give them a hug today. Take care. Anyway, yeah, there we go. Let's turn the fucking amp on, dumbass. I gotta give that's all, folks. Fuck.